What's up guys, it's Rayskat here. It is currently 7:41 in the morning. I just woke up, had a shower, put out the PC. The preseason 8 patch is live, and I'll give you guys two mastery or rune or whatever pages you want to call them now for Thresh, and I believe those are going to be the rune pages I will be using. Let's just and we're back 30 minutes later. I've created the two rune pages that I will most likely be using. The first one is probably going to be the one, or the most standard Thresh rune page. I'll quickly just run through it. Firstly we have Aftershock, which could be seen as like a mix between Thunderlords and Colossus. In the early game at least. It does more damage through the entire game than Thunderlords ever did on Thresh, and it has a lower cooldown, at the cost of having less tankiness than Colossus, because it gives you a lot resistances, but since you don't have the massive shield, it's gonna make you a lot squishier than before. Next we have the smaller rune. I don't know what these things are called. Basically I believe that you can take any single one of these depending on how you're going to be planning to play your lane. If you're playing against heavy ganking junglers, I think unflinching is something you can consider. It's also good against Braum, against a lot of champions which have a lot of slows or the possibility of killing you. Demolish is pretty good, even though it got heavily nerfed compared to the PvE version, which I agree with. If you're playing with heavy pushers like Xayah, Sivir, Caitlyn, you might want to take this and then just try to take down the enemy bot lane tower as fast as possible. It also scales relatively well in the late game, since you're gonna be building a lot of HP. Fond of Life, I personally believe that I will be using this rune the most often, mostly because it makes your trading just a little bit better. It heals your ADC a little bit, so yeah, I believe that this is gonna be the best one if you wanna just go for kills in the lane. The next rune, there is no competition here. Never ever take these two. These two are really bad. I think conditioning is just way better, even though it gives nothing in the early game. But even so, like 5 armor and 5 magic resist, like that is nothing. Just no. I'm pretty sure nobody is ever going to take these two. And then let's talk about the best rune in the new rune system that is not a keystone, and I'm talking about Second Wind. On the PvE, I just absolutely love this rune. It makes your trading so good. If the enemy doesn't have this and you do, the HP region is just ridiculous. I actually believe that some champions that wouldn't even go into Resolve 3 as their like secondary, whatever this thing is called, might actually want to go for Resolve just to get this rune. It's really good. I think only Futures Market is like comparable to how good this rune is. And speaking of Futures Market, I have picked Inspiration for my secondary rune page, or secondary rune, whatever. Futures Market is like a must if you're ever going to pick Resolve. This gets your core items or early game items so much faster that if you have it and the enemy support doesn't have it, and you go back a little bit early and you have money for Moby Boots or Sidestone and he doesn't, you can use that to snowball your advantage really well. As for the secondary rune, I don't know which one of these is better, because like 5% to everything, yeah, that's nice, but it's not that massive. On the other hand though, when I was playing on the PvE, I noticed that mana problems are a lot worse, since you don't have the passive mana regen for your runes anymore. And personally, I felt like the biscuits helped me a little bit on that regard. But I guess we're gonna have to see what happens. Let's just take it to get this rune page done. So this is what I believe is going to be the most frequent or the most used Thresh rune page in the game. I might be wrong though, since this is my first impressions or the first page that comes to mind. But I'm pretty sure you can't go wrong with this page. I think it's pretty strong. And now for the second page, which I'm by far the most excited for in this whole thing. Like, I am so excited to see how this is gonna work out. This page is for when you want to absolutely tear through the entire game, or at least in the early game. Let's have a look at it. This is what I plan to use when I'm either smurfing or when I'm playing against weak laners. We started off with the reason why I believe you can tear through the games with this rune page. The Unsealed Spellbook. It gives 25% cooldown reduction on your Ignite and your Flash. Just think about that for a second. I'm pretty sure your Ignite is on a 2.5 minute cooldown with this thing, which is absolutely ridiculous. Your Flash and your Ignite are up consistently. If the enemy doesn't have this page, first of all, there is not a single ADC who is going to take this page. So your Flash is always going to be on a ridiculously low cooldown compared to theirs. So you can just flash on top of them and then just CC them to death. And if you already killed them once, you're never going to lose the fight. Which means that this puts ridiculous pressure on the enemy bottom lane in the early game, because of your Ignite being so low cooldown and your Flash being so low cooldown. And that is not the only reason why I believe it's really good. You can also swap it out. You can swap out the Ignite for Exhaust when you believe that Ignite has run its course. Because late game Ignite is not nearly as good as late game Exhaust. I believe that with this rune page you can snowball games out of control, and I just can't wait to see how this works out. I really want to make this rune page work. As for my smaller runes, I've taken Biscuit Delivery. I believe that this is the best out of the three. You pretty much never want to take this thing on Thresh. I guess you can take this one if you really want to. Like, you can make some really creative plays with this one if you go and invade the enemy jungler. Like, you can flash over the Dragon Pit or Baron Pit or whatever, just take some really weird approaches towards invading the enemy jungler. Futures Market, I already told why I believe this is so strong. Just take it. I'm pretty sure you don't need either one of these. By the way, while on topic, this mastery sucks. It just sucks. Unless you're playing a champion which does not need boost for the first 10 minutes. I don't know what champion that would be. Just really bad. Don't get it. As for the last one, I believe that the Cosmic Insight is probably the best. Approach velocity, it can be good. You can try it out, but I think that I will be going for Cosmic Insight most of the time. As for my secondary, I've taken Resolve, just so I can get the extra 145 health. Pretty much the same thing as before. You can take any of these three, and second win is pretty much a must. Like, I just cannot tell you enough how good this rune is. Like, every time you have Resolve, you always take this page. Or you always take this rune. The only exception is if you really want to take Overgrowth on like a super tank or I don't know, whatever. Just take second wind. It's way too good. Well, that took a whole lot longer than I thought. I thought this would be like a 2 minute, like a really short video, just explaining or giving you guys a quick rundown of the rune pages I was going to be using. I'll just give you guys pictures in the video description, so you guys can see and just copy them and not give a damn about why I believe certain runes are the best. I don't think I have anything else to add. I'll see you guys next time.